this morning for this first bout as they do the equipment checks on the two teams this morning. Damien Mistress, Mr. Danger, Captain Jack Spare Her, strapping young beard, and it is a strapping beard. Guinness, Ref Metal, Ref in Peace, and the head ref Harley Quinn Davidson. We have the announcements going on to the venue right now by our colleague Tool Time and the talented Ironstain, who will not be skating for Australia, but she has kind of worked her way into our announcing team over the last couple of days. You saw her on the stream yesterday, and she's been a wow. She's a talented young
did a couple
individual.
on the house yesterday, and was a really talented announcer.
Yeah, she wow. If the whole skating thing doesn't work about, she is yeah, she's impressive.
Well, I believe she's out on injury right now.
She is the alt. She is medically cleared to come back. She is the alt.
Good.
She had a broken leg a couple of months ago, and she is back to where she could skate if she had to, but she is the alt. And for all things, from everything we understand, she will not be skating today. If something happens and she does, then we'll change the schedule around because she is going to be on the house calls for quite a bit of the calls. For these teams, just to give a little history, Team Europe came in. They won one of their games yesterday. They beat Great Britain. But even with the one victory, they made a good showing. And as cool as all these uniforms are, I will tell you that the dark blue Great Britain jersey is my favorite jersey in the building.
Yes, I like that one with the flag on it.
Yeah, it's an awesome jersey. Team Australia. I am from Tampa. For those of you who don't know, I work at the Wrecking Hall for Tampa Roller Derby, and we host Spring Break Swarm every year. And Australia has came to our tournament, and as soon as they did, everybody. We just fell in love with them. Tampa considers Australia our sister team, and it was good to be amongst friends again. And they treat me like royalty pretty much, and they are just fun to be around. A great bunch of people, and everybody we've met. Team Europe is just so. I just to be able to sit and talk derby with people from
around the world.
Around the world, it was just. It's just been an impressive last 2 days.
I've got a good friend who's on the Tampa team right now, so I've heard good things about that.
Who was that?
Hatchet Face.
Hatchet Face on the Tampa team?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll you know what? I'll have to look that up. You are watching on Twitch.tv, and we are awaiting right now. We are awaiting medics. So if the delay is, we cannot skate without medics because this is a full contact sport, and safety is of utmost importance.
Most important of our volunteers in Derby.
And I do believe I see medics setting up shop in between the benches right now, so we should be going shortly. But that's the delay right now. Don't forget, you are watching on Twitch.tv. So if you would like to send us some messages, or we will try to get back to you. We will try to answer the questions as we see them, if we can. Be nice, because we're going to be nice to you. If you don't be nice, then we'll just ignore you.
So yesterday that we saw games that only lasted half an hour, 4 penalties before you were fouled out. Today we're running full standardized WFTDA format. We're running 2 30-minute halves with a halftime, 7 penalties to a foul out, everything that we're used to seeing.
You know, and that's a good point that you bring up. Our producer, Standby, and I had a conversation last night about you certainly have to. I mean, the seedings meant something, but there's a big difference. That adds a whole different element to the game, and somebody can come in, and if you're kind of close, you can hold up to them and stay with them and possibly pull an upset in a 30-minute contest. But going the full 60, you're going to have to show that you've got the full Monty and do what it takes.
That the outcome of the final game yesterday could have been changed over by another 30 minutes of Derby. So taking the Jammer Stars for Team Australia, number 02 Rumblebee taking on number 72 Duracell, and Duracell picking up lead jammer right off the bat. Now we've seen Duracell do quite a bit of powerhouse jamming there for Europe. and is proved to be a very strong jammer.
Absolutely. Duracell, and Duracell is a fan favorite, too. He gets the place excited and
Right.
jacked up when he gets going.
So right off the bat there, there's a grand slam, 5 on the board there by Duracell, bringing Europe up with the lead. Rumblebee still stuck on the initial pass. Europe throwing up a pretty strong defense against Rumblebee. Now, Rumblebee had just a blocker or two, and Europe recycled their defense up front. So all 4 blockers now. Rumblebee does get out and completes the initial pass.
Something to pay attention to, you those out there watching on twitch.tv, is the pack play with the grouped up. And for those of you non-derby fans, those are the non-jammers that are together trying to play offense and defense. Unlike most sports, they play offense and defense at the same time, because you have to play offense to try to get your jammer through to get points, and you have to play defense to
trying to hold the jammer,
yes.
other jammer back, trying to bust the hole up in the wall.
Shout out to Vilda's mother watching from Sweden.
Hi, Vilda's mother. It's nice to have you with us today.
All right, to the jammer line. KO Cutie is on the jammer line for Team Australia. Team Europe, I got 6-0, but it's 6-6, I think, maybe. Little Demon.
No, 0-1, TNT. Another powerhouse jammer. That's number 0-1, TNT, jamming for Europe. And TNT has proven to be another powerhouse jammer, but Australia has been taking the lead now with Ya Na having 1 scoring pass down.
I mistakenly said it was KO Cutie as 0-1. You're correct for TNT. I looked at the wrong roster.
So a quick jam there, but 5 Australia, 0 Europe. I'm sorry, 4 Australia, 0 Europe. $1,300 Red Roach for Team Australia. Well, we have at least 1 viewer in France right now, so thank you. That's telling us it's 2 p.m. and it's 8 a.m. over here in the East Coast United States.
Killer Sushi, number 7, jamming for Team Europe.
Number 1,300, Red Roach, jamming for Australia. And Red Roach is lead. Red Roach now in the pack, 3-wall by Europe at the back. KO Cutie's trying to bust up that European defense there. Australia loses their pivot on a penalty right now. Red Roach from Australia still lead, still stuck in the back of the pack. One thing that's making things easier today is we do not have the 2 games back-to-back behind us, so we don't have the mixing over of whistles.
Absolutely. 19-12 with 26 minutes and 17 seconds left to go. The captain, number 242, Stockwell, jamming for the green team from Australia. Number 888, that is New Limit on for Team Europe.
It's almost a matchup now. Which team has the loudest fans? Australia has a pretty good group of people here, but Great Britain, they have their own flag. They were using their flag as a percussion section over there.
You know, that's a good point, and I don't want to take up the Derby, so if something exciting happens, you take over and I'll be quiet.
We'll get
it. The fans, first of all, the Australians and the Canadians were down there in the inn by the house, which is where I spent most of my day yesterday.
Yes.
And they are absolutely phenomenal. And the Great Britain fans sitting up there in the stands. Go ahead.
Okay, Australia with the lead, number 242. Stockwell taking the lead for Australia.
Team Europe's jammer out and around, coming back for his point pass. Penalty called by...
Oh, a jammer penalty on Australia is not going to help them right now. I think, I didn't catch the hand signal. It might have been a cutting.
That was a track cut.
Yep. So 5 on the board there by Europe. and No Limit still throttled to take full advantage of this power jam. Knocked out of bounds, turns that into an apex jump, and puts 5 more up.
The winner of this will play Team West, I believe. Yes, the winner of this bout plays Team West, and the winner of Canada and Great Britain next will play Team East.
Yes.
Team East and West got a bye for finishing first and second yesterday.
So
right, go ahead.
Someone on our live feed is asking how they can find the schedule of who's playing who today. Now, a lot of that hasn't even really been established. It depends on who's winning and who's up.
But the bracket should be available. I believe it is on the Twitch feed. It is right under the post, if I'm not mistaken. There's a photo of the bracket under the video of this stream. It's tiny, but it is readable, according to some of the Twitch.tv post fans. And then a big move on the outside as the Australian jammer, Red Roach. Red Roach, a very impressive and powerful skater, and Red Roach just flying around as TNT trying to blow up the pack. He gets through. Now Red Roach coming back for his purpose. A big move on the outside, coming down the back straightaway. And now TNT's coming back to re-engage with the pack. Is Red Roach going to let him play? Yes, he is, because Red Roach thinks I can get through the pack quicker than you can, because he's trusting his defensive pack play and letting them go.
Look at that. Good jamming. I do believe that's actually Mad Catter, 106. One thing that these teams have been doing is sending out a jammer and then pulling the old switcheroo at the last minute with another jammer to kind of fool the opposing team,
and the announcers.
It fools your announcers too.
And see, we're in we've worked a system out, and it took us a few days to do it. But on this track, the only downside, quote unquote, because this place is absolutely fabulous, is where we are. We're perched up here. We cannot see the jammer line.
Right, we're looking at the pivot line, face forward.
Yeah, so we're looking. We're seeing the front of the jammers and the pack as they go. But we have put one of our announcers down there with a walkie-talkie. A producer for the house producer is relaying the jammer numbers so that we can get them to y'all as quick as we can. And it's actually working better than it was the first few days we were here. But sometimes they pull the switcheroo and they get us.
Yes. So we've had a couple of Grand Slams now by Australia. Look at that. Australia now with a 1-point lead change over Europe thanks to number 106, Mad Catter. Now Mad Catter still full strength on a power pass. Jumps the apex at turn 4. Brings 5 more up for Australia. Mad Catter back in the pack. Instead of taking the apex jump, jukes to the outside of the jam line. Another easily scored 5 points. Lead change Australia, who is now up. And if you can hear the adrenaline from the Australia, it's giving me goosebumps. Australia is pumped right now.
Well, they just had a 38-point jam. I would be pumped as well. Number 72, Duracell, I believe. That's not true.
No.
Yeah, Duracell's not jamming. He went back to the box.
We had. Okay, Europe picking up lead with 0-1 TNT starting in the penalty box. And jamming for Australia, number 19, Dark Side of Doom.
4 quick points for Europe, bringing the score to 53-47 with 20 minutes and 17 seconds left to go here in the first half. Record jam of 38 points happened just a few moments ago for Australia. Europe answering with 4, closing the gap, trying to negate that lead change that just happened.
Pack advantage going to Australia now. Europe has down their pivot and 1 blocker. 0-2. Rumblebee is jamming again for Australia.
Killer Sushi for Europe.
Now this this should help Australia a little bit because we've been seeing some amazing blocking by number 42, Fabulous. Fabulous is a very proactive blocker, just on top of pack awareness. Front, back, side to side, doesn't matter. So Rebel B is on a scoring pass. Our jammer referee signaling 4 more up for Australia. And a jammer penalty now to Europe. So Australia picking up another power jam. It's a cutting. A cutting the track penalty has been assessed to Europe's jammer.
That's way.
And if you are new to Derby and you see jammer penalties, you know that's usually your lead changes happen during those jammer penalties. We call that a power jam. And the reason we call it that is when the jammer is in the penalty box, the opposing jammer actually gets 1 extra point, 1 point for every blocker, and then a 5th point for that jammer in the penalty box.
Basically, passing someone who's standing still is a lot easier than passing.
So we call that a power jam, and the power jams are what change leads very effectively, and that's where you get a bulk of points really quickly. So 5 more for Australia with Rumblebee going for another scoring pass again. There's Fabulous taking Rumblebee out of bounds and with the drawback.
Right now, the busiest people in the buildings are the penalty trackers, as the penalties are happening so quick and so fast that we almost can't give you who they are and why. And all I can tell you now is we are down to 2 Australian blockers in the penalty box and 1 Team Europe blocker.
Now each team doesn't have their pivot on the track, so star passing is kind of not an option right now. Number 60.
That's Nah for Australia, number 60.
We have a team timeout being called by Europe.
Yeah, Team Europe has called out the timeout, so they're going to decide who they're jamming. Number 60, like I said, Nah. It's Nah.
And you'll hear them chant that. There's our stat and a hat, I believe, is our head NSO for the game, conferring with the penalty box NSOs. And the penalty box is right here at turn 2, so you can't see that on our live feed, but we're trying to keep you up to date. We have a cheerleader for Europe running around, possibly. We have seen some actual cheerleaders in the crowd for our teams, and I believe that it was either for Canada or Great Britain.
You know, we were talking, now we have a timeout. We were talking about the fans yesterday, and that our producer Standby and I were talking last night, and it was so amazing because Great Britain brought that European soccer mentality to roller derby here in America.
Yes.
And it was absolutely unbelievable. And as the louder that Great Britain got, of course, if you're a group of fans in here, you can't let another group of fans be louder. So then the Australians got into it, and then Canada got into it. And then Team USA is like, well, we can't let them come over here. And so then I mean, this place was absolutely, for electric atmosphere as far as roller derby goes, it was unbelievable. In the green jersey is going to be Nah and No Limit for the European team.
No Limits down. Nah picking up lead for Australia. Oh, another jammer penalty to Europe right now. That is not helping them. Europe now down a pivot and a blocker. And there's Fabulous with one of those defensive hits that we're seeing very well.
Yeah, No Limit was sent for a low block.
Okay.
As for that jammer penalty. The last of the Australians, number 17, their pivot, Ada Robertson, is now out of the penalty box. So hopefully, knock on wood, if No Limit skates out of here in the next few seconds, it'll be an it.
Oh, you spoke too quickly because there's Australia's jammer off on a penalty. Nah
now in the penalty box. We had a jammer carousel. Now we'll finish virtually the whole. He'll have to sit the whole 30 seconds because, Nah was about to get up as before No Limit came in. I'm sorry, Nah is in there now. No Limit was about to leave before Nah came in for a track cut.
Nah is now released from the box, so we're back to 100% strength from our pack right now. Very strong blocking there by Europe in the back. 29 seconds left. Nobody can call the jam off at this point, but Yeah Nah isn't really phased by that. Yeah Nah putting 5 more on the board.
(78-47) with just under 16 minutes left to go here in the first period.
I guess one of our viewers is in the grandstands right now. How they're able to post that from inside this building is beyond me. But we'd like to thank everybody who's tuning in at this 8 a.m. over here Eastern time to watch this game. Australia now up to 80, Europe 47. So in the beginning of this game, Europe had the lead, and Australia just ramped it up a little bit, and now they have a pretty solid lead over Europe.
Red Roach going to the jammer line for Australia. Duracell for Europe. Duracell and Red Roach, two very talented young men, powerful skaters, super quick, as Red Roach on the inside takes the inside line, able to get it.
Australia with lead.
The Australian blockers were looking for a cut. Duracell really trying to get through.
Girl on Fire knocking Duracell out of bounds. Girl on Fire also taking the rollback. A cutting has been assessed to Europe's jammer now, No Limit. Girl on Fire did what they call a drawing a cut. That's when you're knocked out of bounds, and then the initiator of that block skates backwards to intentionally force you to re-enter at the back, lest you get a cutting on track penalty. Very strategic move.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. Is that was a defensively forced track cut right there. That was just it was less a Duracell error and more
Girl on Fire.
Great defensive play. A forced track cut, shall we say.
Forced track cut, that's right.
I do have a blocker for Team Europe. That's number 9, Kiara, going to the penalty box. As it's 13 minutes and 44 seconds left to go in the first half, 94-47. It went back and forth, like you said, it went back and forth for a few minutes ago.
Yes.
For a few minutes, but Australia starting to open it up a little bit. This right there, this would be about just over halftime yesterday.
Yes.
So, but we're still 13 minutes till halftime.
Right. We're pretty clean now with the penalty, with the timeouts. One of our viewers telling us it's 10 p.m. right now in Australia. So, thank you for staying up to watch this game. I know that's late for a lot of people.
In the last 3 jams, Australia has had 39 points.
Europe finally picking up lead. And I believe this is Europe's first time in several jams getting lead. Jammers neck to neck right now, both on scoring passes. 17.
Ada Robertson is going up against TNT.
And we haven't seen Ada jam a whole lot, if at all. But Ada is effective. 4 on the board by Ada, 2 on the board by Europe, and that jam is over. Killer Sushi, number 7. Jamming for Europe.
Mad Catter going to the jammer line for Australia.
Mad Catter, I believe Mad Catter led the lead change that they had earlier in this game. Mad Catter had that 38-point jam, which brought Australia out on top. So let's see how these two jammers work with each other. Australia with a 4-wall up front and a very proactive 4-wall. Look at that, Mad Catter, instead of going out of bounds, just a toe stops inbounds allows the lead for Australia. Hasta la Vista putting a hit on Mad Catter, knocking Mad Catter out right around the pivot line. Mad Catter comes inbounds, still on a scoring pass, so points have at least been accrued. There's 5 now by our jammer referee.
Australia passing the century mark, score it with a 103-49 lead.
I think short of the USA games, we haven't had a lead, this heavy yet yesterday at all. Everything's been pretty close.
And quite honestly, it's surprising to me so far. And look, it's 40 points, and we've already. I mean, Australia had 38 in one jam, and then they had 39 in 3 jams. So Europe is 3 or 4 good jams away from just. So it's coming back. So this is certainly not over. Dark Side of Doom for the green team on Australia, and Duracell for Team Europe.
I wonder if Dark Side of Doom ever gets tired of Pink Floyd references from announcers.
You know what? Never. How can you get tired of?
I can't. I was thinking of various remarks I could make yesterday for House. Dark Side of Doom picking up lead, and Duracell coming out of the pack, jamming for Europe. Our jammers only about 12, 15 feet apart on the track, so they're on the same scoring pass now. Now we're neck to neck. One and nothing there in favor of Europe.
Yeah, so far this is surprising to me as Australia looking out, because, and I still think Europe is going to make another run and get and stay close, and mainly because. Not just because of the way the seedings played out, but honestly from watching them play yesterday, I felt like this would be the closest game of the day.
I thought so, too. I mean, and 108.54 is still nothing to sneeze at. That's still easily changed.
And when we were looking at the schedule as number 8888.
No Limit, and number 02, Rumble B for Australia. Europe is picking up another lead. Not by much, though, because Rumblebee is into the pack.
We were looking at the schedule last night, and I had missed a couple of opportunities to call with you. And this seemed like the only time to do it. And I'm like, why in the world would I put myself? I'm not exactly what they would call a morning person.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, you know what? At least it's the closest game. It's the closest game, so it'll keep us awake and focused on Derby. So that'll be a good thing.
I was surprised at the USA East and West game. Neither team broke 100, and I thought there was going to be a riot.
See, I'm not surprised at all, and I'll tell you why after we come back from this jam. But as Rumblebee being recapped, forced out on the inside, being recycled all the way to the back of the pack. No Limit now trying to work his way through that wall of green, and the depleted European blockers are up there going, guys, we got to stay clean. We need some help. But again, this green wall, able to keep No Limit at bay right at this time, making him work for every rotation of his skates. And goes back to the USA game you were talking about. The two keys ever since we got here Friday for the JRDA championships, and then this, two big factors the whole weekend were penalties. There's been penalties issues. We had a lot of foul outs, and now there's more penalties coming. And this game started the same way.
Right.
And the thing that impresses me most about this junior skaters and their talent at this level, yes, they're athletic, but they're young and they're supposed to be. They can get knocked down and pop back up. If they knock me down, y'all gonna have to come carry me out here.
And that's one thing that we're seeing. We're seeing. We had a lot of jams called off last night due to technically an injury, but only because a skater went down and the referees elected to call the jam off in favor of safety. But not really an injury, because after a minute or so they got back up on their own skates and skate out. There was no need for any kind of medical attention. I would have been out for a month and a half. Europe picking up lead right now, 0-1 TNT, and number 60 for Australia.
Australians pivot going to the penalty box.
That's Yana jamming for Australia. Yana right forced behind that Fabulous blocking there by Fabulous. For Yana points, but Yana not lead. Europe with a 3-point jam.
130-65, a true 2-to-1 ratio. What we were talking about the factors when we were talking about penalties, but the most impressive thing to me about the athleticism at this level is not exactly the wiriness and the physicality of it, but the mentality of it, and that shows best if you watch the pack play.
Right.
I know we all like to watch the exciting jammers, but watch them three-walling up. Watch the team. You see it on the screen now. Watch the jammers the blockers putting themselves in a possibility play as we got a power jam situation now as the Australian jammer, that is Red Roach, goes to the penalty box. Europe trying to close the gap right here. Duracell is a pretty good person to have that star if you're trying to make up a deficit.
Definitely going to increase or impact the score a little bit here. As far as blocking, we've been seeing some professional defense. The blockers don't get the screams and the yells and the announcers' attention all the time. We try to, but sometimes it's just too quick to see it. But the defensive blocking, the three walls, what I call the squirrel cages, where all four blockers are kind of in a circle and they're bouncing back and forth, is just flat out. It's professional. It's amazing. Initial pass complete by number 1300, Red Roach. No Australia points there, and only 1 point there for Europe in that jam, or on that pass.
And then many of these skaters are getting at the age where they'll be aging out soon.
A lot,
and then they're going to hit, and this is why I preach the gospel of JRDA pretty much everywhere I go, because they are the future of our sport. And when WFTDA teams are getting quote-unquote rookies that have 6, 7, 8, sometimes 10 years of not skating experience, but derby skating experience.
And that's what I'm seeing. I only know a handful of skaters and JRDA skaters. Only one that I know went from JRDA to WFTDA just because she moved. Had 3 years of JRDA beneath her before she went to a WFTDA league, and it showed. Amazing skater, but not common near me were that.
That was a track cut on Stockwell, and Stockwell having trouble. Typically, Stockwell is a star. When Stockwell is in the middle of that pack, really anchors a lot for the Australian team. But it seems over the last couple of days, I've seen a lot. Stockwell wearing the star team seems to get into penalty trouble.
Yes, kind of a backup jammer. We've seen that. We've seen some impressive jammer rotations where instead of having a rotation of 3, each team just rotates through every skater on that roster as a jammer. So once again, Team Australia is the number 4 seed, and Team Europe is the number 5 seed starting off in this game. And we have a power jam now to Australia, while Killer Sushi, jamming for Europe, is in the box on a forearm penalty. So Stockwell's initial pass is now complete. Killer Sushi back on the track from that forearm. Australia losing Rumbleby to a cutting as a blocker there. So a comment from one of our spectators here is their oldest child is 10 and will have been playing derby for 4 years.
See, absolutely,
that's amazing.
So when that skater is 18,
we'll have more experience than probably most people on the local WFTDA league.
They're looking at 12 years of roller derby experience.
I can't even imagine that, because where I live, JRDA doesn't really. It's not a thing.
See, and that brings me to my next point. If you are out there and you're listening and you're a part of a WFTDA team and you do not have, if there's a non-affiliated junior team around you, you need to go grab them up and you need to cuddle them and or start your own if there's not, because you're building your own farm system.
Exactly. You're bringing people in when they're still able to A lot of people, they like sports, but football, baseball, and you got derby, and what we're seeing here is the best of the best. These people have been at it for years. Some of these junior skaters have been doing this. Seattle had skaters from 2007, and they're 17 years old. They're about ready to age out of JRDA.
And then a lot of these these teams are coached by WFTD legends and
Yes.
veterans. I mean, look at Philly. At Philly, you got Teflon
Yes.
Donna, Devoid of Mercy, Tampa, Rojo Grande, Leia Flat, Lauren Kill. It goes on and on and on.
It's like you're passing something on to your grandchildren. It's like you're leaving an inheritance, because that skill that you're passing on to a junior skater is going to be recycled, and your league is going to continue using it.
Pack moving around at a steady pace right now.
.106 for Australia. Mad Catter not lead. We have a leadless jam, so we're going to run the full 2 minutes.
26 seconds left. Thank you, Bullseye813, for your comments about your 10-year-old that's been playing 4 years. We certainly appreciate it.
Oh.
Lead jam for Australia.
I thought we didn't have lead for that. Either way, 5 on the board. Mad Catter going in for one more scoring pass just before those whistles are blown. In Derby, when those 4 whistles are blown, you score up until the 4th whistle of those 4. No points on the board there for Australia, but you can't say that Mad Catter didn't try. 4 European points there, bringing Australia to 163-88 in our halftime now.
Yeah, we have reached halftime. An exciting half it was. Not quite as close as I thought it would be, but look for Europe to make the adjustments. These coaches we talk about that working with the juniors, look for Europe to make some adjustments. Let's see what Team Australia does, and we'll come back for an exciting second half here live from the Sportsplex in Feasterville, Pennsylvania.
Yes, thank you for sticking with us.
The first game of day 2 of the 2018 World Cup. See you right in a few. We are back, and you are watching twitch.tv/WFTDA. We are here for the second half of Australia-Europe here in Feasterville, Pennsylvania. We're going to talk about the first half just a little bit. Great showing by both teams, Australia opening up. The high jam of the bout was number 38 points by Australia, number 106. That's Mad Catter. He had and he also had 75 points. He had 30 points in a jam. He had in 3 jams. He had 75 points. Europe's lead jammers, 72 and 888, had 30
About
points
30
each in jams. What's your take on the penalties, George?
You know, it's just been your average cut tracks, low blocks. We're not seeing any very aggressive level of gameplay. We're not seeing, you know, misconduct. We're not seeing any blocking while you're in the air. We are starting on the second half, though, with 2 European blockers sitting in the box. Our producer right now is working on the exact penalty information, and as soon as we get that, we will relay that to you.
Dark Side of Doom is going to be to the jammer for Australia starting this second half.
And I think that might be Duracell for Europe.
I think so.
We've been doing this now this is our 5th day of this. And so we've kind of gotten to the point where we can identify them just by their look.
You can.
Yeah.
You got that ref eye that because you're used to reffing. As number 19, Dark Side of Doom,
Yes.
drives down for lead jam, get Australia, and Duracell is off to the races. He is going to try to come back around quickly and limit the damage by lead jammer Dark Side of Doom. Dark Side of Doom trying to call it off. Did it get off on time? Yep, flashing zeros. 4 points for Australia and Dark Side of Doom. 0 for Duracell and Europe.
Pack advantage now going to Australia with Europe's number 20. Number 20 or 720. Lily Blood standing in the penalty box. So 10 seconds or less to go for Lily Blood, and then our teams will be at full strength. We have is this an official review?
Yep, we have an official review asked for, I believe, by Team Europe, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was by Team Europe. As the pack separates and talks on the track.
If you can't see it in our live feed, Australia did bring a giant inflatable kangaroo.
His name is Clancy.
I was expecting a crocodile or something to come out if they were losing, you know.
They have a platypus down there, too.
Well, they are known for their animals.
I
Ones that
actually
are
see
less
they
di-
gave
ones-
me a little kangaroo.
I didn't get a kangaroo. I'll have to go. They gave me some Australian candy that was really good. So I was kind of hanging out with the Australian fan base while I was sitting at the table there next to Ironstein. Very nice people. I'm glad everybody's here. I've never been in Derby where I've had so many international. ECDX has had, you know, teams from Canada, Montreal, Scotland, I believe, was here a time or two, but nobody from this many people from around the world. It's nice to just meet everybody. And one thing I was talking about yesterday with Daniela is everyone's going to take something home from this. And they're most likely going to take stuff home from the USA games because USA they've really been dominant against these other teams. So these teams are going to go home to their leagues in their home countries and little skating rinks, and they're going to talk about what they learned, and it's going to build the sport up a little bit. So this is very productive to the sport in the future of roller derby, especially with JRDA. We've had a laundry list of skaters who are soon to be, it's almost like a high school graduation. We went over the USA skaters on Sunday night who will be aging out of the JRDA and hopefully moving on to, an adult derby organization, be it the, WFTDA or whatever is near them or more appropriate. Hopefully we'll have the same thing here. So this is just how you get experience from, say, your local Philadelphia or Gotham skaters who are here in the States to show some things, because we're seeing off the track during times like this, skaters talking to each other. I saw a Europe skater and I think a UK skater talking about gameplay off the side of the track here.
Can you hear that?
So, I think we're trying to get the details of this official review. Well, there's our rolling whistle, so.
I believe they were looking for a back block, Europe, and it was not granted. The review will not be retained. Yes, the blinking dot under your screen that went away for Europe means they have used their dot, which would be their official review. If they win that review, then they get to retain the dot. You see the dot, those of you out there in Twitch that are not used to the roller derby, if you're looking at Team Australia on the scoreboard, you see that dot to the right. Up until about 30 seconds ago, there was a dot under Europe. If they ask for a review, it'll start blinking. If they win the review, it'll stop blinking. If they lose the review, it'll go away. Those other three bars under each team's name are the timeouts. That's how many timeouts they have to use if they want.
So back to our gameplay. 5 points on the board. Australia with lead with number 02, Rumble B, jamming. Europe did start this jam with one blocker, number 20, Lily Blood, in the box. Lily came back on the track shortly into the jam, exchanged blockers with somebody else who got another penalty. I'm seeing some illegal procedure hand signals by our announcer's assistant. We have quite a bit of support here in just what we're doing right now, because we've got somebody radioing us the jammer information so we can bring that to our viewers. And now we have another helper on the outside of the track who's watching the referees and forwarding the hand signals to us, because we don't really have a clear view of what's going on. We have a fence in our way.
Ada Robertson stepping to the jammer line for Australia.
And we can't say it enough, but our camera operators are just amazing. We're watching what you're watching here on the screen, and that picture is beautiful.
Dude, they have been amazing. When we had trouble, in day one, we were having trouble. Before we got these walkie-talkies set up, we were having trouble seeing the jammer line, and the camera guys focused down on it.
Yes.
As Duracell takes lead jam for Europe. Coming back around, it is Duracell and Ada Robertson. Robertson coming back, chasing on, and Duracell trying to, but Duracell calling it off quickly before Ada Robertson can get any points.
I believe that's Ada's only maybe second jam. Ada put some points up the board the first time that Ada had jammed. This time that jam was called off.
And Duracell is an amazing jammer to watch. I don't see how he keeps going. He just jammed. He has jammed a lot.
We had an Australian pivot there with the toe stop on the line, down, trying to buy about 5 feet of room.
Red Roach jamming for Australia.
We got some what we call bridging in the pack right now. That's that green 355 is standing in the middle, basically extending the pack distance so they can have a long pack there. The pack, if you don't know, is the largest group of blockers on the track from both teams. There are rules as to what the pack can and can't be. If the pack splits up, there are certain things that need to be done to reform the pack. Same thing with what's in and out of play. In and out of play is 20 feet from your nearest pack skater. So you'll see.
Yeah, that's why you do the bridging, where about every
Right.
10 feet you'll place somebody. That makes
that blocker at 10 feet extends the 10 feet out another 10 feet or 20 feet.
And those of you Derby fans that are out there watching that are Derby veterans, we're on a free broadcast and we have a lot of people watching roller derby that have never seen roller derby. So we are trying to be as simplistic as possible.
Right. And again, if you are new to Derby and you want to, kind of look over how the game is played, the WFTDA does have a website, WFTDA.com, and I believe there is a link for people who want to learn the basics of it. You can also find the most current rules that the referees must read and follow. A cutting the track penalty has been given to cutting the track. What happens is if you're a skater and you're knocked out of bounds by an opponent, you must re-enter behind anybody who has what's called superior position, who is ahead of you at the time, and the person who initiated that hit. If you come in front of that person who initiated the hit, you get a cutting the track penalty. And what defines coming in bounds is any part of your skate. So even if it's just a quarter inch of your toe stop coming back in, coming out and coming back in, you are given that cutting the track penalty with some very stagnant blocking.
Right now on the track, Mona Twitch trying to take advantage of the power jam situation, but look at that green wall. Talking about the pack play, nullifying the power jam until Yana can get back, and now we're back to full strength. So great job. Again, we talk about that pack play. Great job by the green wall.
Good
keeping
job,
it at bay.
We were talking about how, the jammers, they're wearing the stars. They are the stars. They're the ones scoring the points. But the blockers work just as hard to become great blockers. And it looks like all you've got to do is stop somebody. But really, there's a lot of skill involved to blocking. You've got to be up on your pack awareness. And leagues that have Derby practice pack awareness in different ways. But you've always got to be aware of what's going on around you because it's such a dynamic sport. This Derby gameplay can change from second to second. Your jammer could be in, then out, and then you can have someone coming up behind you. You just have to know what's going on if you want to be an effective blocker.
Duracell and Mad Catter are the jammers as Duracell jumps out and gets lead jam as Mad Catter tries the inside line, doesn't make it.
Duracell fully charged going around that track. A 5 on the board there, and a cutting the track penalty has been assessed to Australia's number.
Maybe Duracell should be Energizer because he keeps going and going and going. You're welcome.
Mad Catter, we've used that joke probably 3 times. Mad Catter is sitting on a cutting the track penalty. Much needed power jam right now for Duracell. Duracell has very little resistance right now. An Ohm's Law joke for those of you who do what I do for a living. 5 points on the board, and you can hear the handful of fans for Europe getting a little rowdy and stomping their feet. Another scoring pass complete by Duracell.
This going to what we were talking about yesterday, and this place is starting to liven up as Europe is starting to add a little bit. 20 points for Europe. 185 to 118, 22 minutes left. Europe trying to put something together, like you say, as Mad Cat are coming around. Getting the 20-point jam for Europe.
Our penalty box clears right before the end of that jam, so our next jam starting with a full 5-on-5. Each team 100% efficiency right now on the track.
I love full squad roller derby.
I believe that's number 7, Killer Sushi. For Europe taking the jammer star. And if I had to guess, I would say that might be Ada Robertson jamming for Australia.
That I believe is Dark Side of Doom.
Dark Side of Doom.
And Mono Witch.
What did they say? There is no Dark Side of Doom, really. As a matter of fact, it's all dark. Sorry. I couldn't do it.
I stand corrected.
I could not do it. So that's 31. That's Mono Witch. I thought that was Killer Sushi, so that was my mistake.
Well, I told you Ada Robertson was somebody else too, so we both messed up a jammer that time.
Well, no, I called Ada Robertson first, and I think you said Dark Side of Doom, and you were actually correct. That was Dark Side of Doom jamming for Australia. So, for those of you watching, number 01 for Europe, TNT, has been doing a tremendous job jamming. TNT has started at the age of 10 years old in the official first junior derby game played in Europe. TNT played for the Blackland Teenage Terrors against the Chesterfield Twisted Vixens from England. 10 years old, Al.
Rumblebee and Duracell to the jammer lines, 185 to 122. Lead for Australia. Just under 20 minutes left to play here in the period, in the bout. We are in jam number 8 of the second half. Rumblebee out of the skates for the Toowoomba City Rollers. Rumblebee skates for the Toowoomba City Rollers.
So Duracell, another jam there. Duracell, only 16 years old. Now, Duracell was very close to being chosen to play for Team Belgium men's team in the recent Men's World Cup. And Duracell is one of the only few to be cut, but that's only one round. I mean, obviously, I see that changing very quickly.
Ada Robertson and Monowich going to the jammer line for their teams to come up for this next jam. And Monowich jumps out to lead jam, taking control. You see the Europe coach saying, go, 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 throwing that finger around as Ada Robertson tries to get through that yellow wall. Finally, Ada Robertson gets out. 43 Europe to 18 Aussie points this period.
That jam over.
According to our esteemed colleague and producer, standby out of Jacksonville, Duval.
And there's Duracell once again. In and out of that jammer rotation, almost every other jammer now is Duracell. Penalty box is clear, so we're running a 5-on-5 on the track.
Death Nella relaying the jammer numbers because we can't see. And it is Red Roach and Duracell. And Nella made us the comment that both of these jammers have beautiful blonde ponytails.
Always a very important part of derby. Those blonde ponytails, if you're a jammer, it's an exceptional skill to have. So lead jammer being given right now to Australia with Red Roach having lead officially, but Red Roach is swallowed back up by the pack. Calls that jam off. A nothing jam for Europe and 3 for Australia. Next time I do one of these, I'm going to remember to bring binoculars. I think that would be much
No Limit and to the jammer line. Thanks to Little John number 143, the useless, giving us some useless information department. Toowoomba is the second largest inland city in Australia. Only Canberra is bigger. Appreciate you.
No Limit comes from Luleå Roller Derby, and they are a WFTDA league. Lives in Sweden, just a couple hours south of the Arctic Circle. So imagine the derby exists in more than just all across the world, and even some pretty unimaginable spots. So the winter months, obviously, the Arctic Circle can be spent training in some nice warm areas.
192 to 135. Still plenty of time, and Team Europe has showed flashes of brilliance in throughout this bout. So anything could happen, and they're starting to throw up points in bunches when both they do. And you can now hear the fans start to yell "Yana" as number 60 Yana goes around, coming back, working his way back to the pack as No Limit is just battling with this three-wall.
Yeah, now coming to Team Australia from the Toowoomba City Rollers.
There's a star pass now to the pivot for Team Europe.
That pivot number 7, Killer Sushi, now with the Jammer Star. I believe that was a 4-and-4 scoring pass. Yana electing to keep this jam going rather than call it off. I believe that will be a jammer lap point around Killer Sushi.
Hasta la vista for Team Europe. Got a multiplayer block is why Hasta la vista went to the penalty box. They are doing some time in the bin, as now there's one skater from each team in the penalty box. Monowich and Mad Catter going to the jammer line. This period has been 45 to 53.
A Europe lead jam with Monowich taking lead. Not far behind Monowich. There goes Mad Catter. Our jammers practically neck on neck. Mad Catter forcing the call off.
Australia is reasserting itself, trying to open things back up. It looked like Team Europe was poised to make a run. Dark Side of Doom stepping to the jammer line against Duracell. You can tell Duracell is all charged up and ready to go as he blasts into the pack.
He's all amped up.
Duracell down on the inside.
Yes.
My goodness, what a move.
Dark Side of Doom coming out of the pack. Half a lap now behind Duracell. Duracell out of scoring pass. There's a pretty wide hole there in the middle. Australia trying to just close that hole at the last minute, but Duracell comes out with a 4 on the board. Dark Side of Doom is stuck at the back of the pack. There's a jammer lap point assessed to Duracell, or not assessed, given Duracell. So 5 on the board by our jammer referee. Dark Side of Doom coming to Team Australia from the Little Alidade Rollers.
We've been reminded by the Twitcher fans that were remembering last year's Creatures of the Abyss European tournament. The reason that rings a bell to me is the Creatures of Abyss tournament actually got finalized and was announced last year while we were in Loveland, Colorado.
Really?
For the JRDA championships out there.
I feel like if I want to watch something like this again, I'm going to have to travel via aircraft. Probably better, because if you're in Derby a lot, it's not unusual to put 50,000 miles in your car in a year.
Monowich and Rumblebee going to the jammer line. Adelaide, Little Adelaide.
Rumblebee.
That is my second team. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Rumblebee coming to Team Australia from Toowoomba City Rollers. And Europe with lead. Europe with a lead. Okay, 31 Monowich taking lead for Europe. Rumblebee knocked out of bounds there on the outside. Gets a rollback. Still hasn't completed the initial pass. The Naki boy, who been a good blocker, and the Naki did quite a bit of jamming yesterday, but we're not seeing Naki wearing the jammer star today. Does knock Rumblebee out of bounds there with a pretty good defensive block. Rumblebee still stuck at the back of the pack.
Block in the back, I believe. Duracell and Ada Robertson. Duracell and Ada Robertson going to the penalty box for their respective teams.
Ada Robertson picking up lead for Australia. Duracell stuck in the pack. Australia very quick to reform that defensive wall. They're swarming up front, but Duracell does come out. Ada Robertson taken out of bounds on the apex by number 01 TNT from Europe. One Australia point on the board before that jam is called off.
220 to 161, closing it to a. There is just about a 59-point jamming.
Starting our penalty our jam now with a full 5-on-5. Our penalty box is clear. I'm thinking that's Killer Sushi.
Monowich and Red Roach are on the jammer line.
Good thing I'm not a betting man.
Timeout called by Team Australia. Red Roach is out of the Newcastle Junior Roller Derby, as well as our now announcer colleague Ironstein. She's from Newcastle.
I believe I see Ironstein at the table over there with the announcers.
Yeah, she is announcing with the house announcers this bout.
I didn't even notice.
Yep. I've pretty much offered her the second mic for the entire day. If she wants to sit there and talk, she's
I would
allowed.
Love to. I think I'm on a house, and I would love to announce it.
The only problem is there's some games that she has to participate in team meetings, so she's not available. But whenever she is, she will be on the semifinal game with Darth Nella, because I thought those two together for the semifinal game would be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, that's going to be a good team.
And TIE Fighter from Philly will be on the other semifinal with Bobby Narco.
Okay.
So that's going to be two fabulous teams for the house call. Europe 73 to 58 over Australia this period. Slower scoring pace than before. Trying to make a comeback, but want to do it in a quick, fast, and in a big hurry. There's no hurry, though. There's still 9 minutes left to play. And we've seen 40 points in a matter of a jam or three on more than one occasion in this bout. So anything can happen, and it usually does in roller derby.
Especially in those last 10 minutes of the game. That's where the adrenaline really starts to pump. That's where the passion in these athletes really begins to come out. Unfortunately, also sometimes means more penalties, but I think it's cleaning up compared to the first half. We do have a jammer penalty now, a forearm penalty being given to the Australia jammer.
So it is a power jam for Team Europe, and like we said, a good chance to make a run. And look for this venue to start amping up now. Listen to the energy level to start. It's already starting, and over the next 9 minutes, it's going to continue. Great.
See, there was a hit there by an Australian blocker, but the referee called that blocker on out of play. And when you're called out of play, you cannot be in that skater's way. You cannot make any kind of hit. You have to immediately just drop back, let that skater pass. Unfortunately, probably just in a moment of passion, didn't hear the out of play, made a hit, and now she's sitting in the box for the out of play penalty.
So it's going to be a power start for Team Europe. Now Red Roach is standing in the penalty box, so they will be out.
Our jam
secondarily. Oh my goodness.
Right on the inside there, almost no resistance at all for Duracell.
Red Roach through the pack, Duracell through the pack.
I think I'd like to see a jam where it's a Duracell jammer versus an Energizer. That would almost be like an ECDX challenge game kind of thing, or just a jammer on jammer. I'm sure there's an Energizer somewhere in the derby community. Maybe find that out. Okay, one blocker down, pack advantage going to Europe right now.
E-bomb.
Yep. There's some karaoke going on by Team Canada, warming up for the next game.
Mad Catter, and I believe it is E-Bomb for the first, yep, E-Bomb for Team Europe. And E-Bomb blows up the pack and gets down on the inside as Mad Catter now gets through the pack and hit hard. It looks like, yes.
That's a back block penalty.
That was
assessed to Monowich there.
Yeah, the Australian blocker
TNT.
extended arms, hit in the back, and we'll go for a back block. So we got one skater for each team in the penalty box, starting to ramp up the penalties again, thanks to the announcer jinx, since George Carnage had to mention how.
So Killer Sushi completes that jam. And Killer Sushi is with the Lil Roller Girls B team. It's a WFTDA league, and Killer Sushi is the oldest member of Team Europe. Killer Sushi has just turned 18, so likely Killer Sushi's last game with JRDA is right here. Congratulations, Killer Sushi. You're doing an amazing job.
Wow.
Package advantage going into Australia. Well, each team does have some strength in the penalty box right now. Australia has two blockers and a pivot. Europe has two blockers, right, or a blocker and a pivot right now. Australia just has one blocker in the box. 1,300 from Australia.
Misconduct coming out of the penalty box. Now Chloe for Europe coming out of the penalty box. Both jammers circling back around quickly. One Team Europe blocker remaining in the penalty box is now standing up. That is number 9, Kiara.
Red Roach and Duracell now jamming a direction of gameplay or an illegal conduct or illegal contact penalty being given to Australia's jammer. Red Roach, a power jam now for Europe, and you can hear Europe's ramping up their chanting here from the grandstands.
Yeah, like I told you, we said the venue was going to get live here, and
Yes.
all of a sudden it is.
We're down
becoming
to
hard to
5
communicate, so we'll do the best we can.
We're down to about 5 minutes now, and you can kind of feel things are getting a little more serious now. 30-some point lead, 4 minutes left. That doesn't mean anything. So stick with us. Europe has made a pretty big comeback. Anything can happen in those 4 minutes. I don't want to jinx, as we've seen. I might have the power to do that. So still anybody's game for whoever wants it. A 4 and 5 now. 5 points to Europe, 4 points to Australia.
You got to think, though, it's 4 minutes. It's getting to the point where if Team Europe is going to make a big run, this got to pretty much start now. Oh. Duracell went down hard right there in front of our announcers over there, and they've radioed me, and he was holding his shin.
Oh.
Looking like. But there we go. The medic's coming out. Coming up next will be the number 3 and 6 seeds, Team Canada, in the red, and in their white jerseys, Team Great Britain. So that'll be the next game coming up here at 9:45 here at the JRDA World Cup.
As it turns out, Duracell is okay. I mean, the medics came out just to be safe, but Duracell got back up on skates without needing any help. Skates off the track, so Duracell now out for 3 jams. Those 3 jams could bring us to the end of the game, but
Monowich and Yana going to the penalty box. I mean, to the jammer line.
Now you jinxed them.
I know, right? I've been waiting for Dark Side of the Moon to come back. I haven't seen her in a while. Dark Side of the Moon, they went to dinner the other day and tried to order tapioca, but Mama B, the coach of Little Adelaide, would not let her do it. She said, if you don't eat all your meat, you can't have.
Well, how can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? It's a different album. That's The Wall. That's the teacher.
I don't care.
That's the teacher in The Wall. I like your lead on. I bought you for just a minute until you got to the pudding reference. I'm like, oh, I fell for it. Apparently, both of your announcers are Pink Floyd fans.
Absolutely. Cornable saying Europe only needs 2 good jams. It's anyone's game. And it truly is. I mean, it's down now. It's as close as it's been in quite a while. 233 to 197 because Europe just put 23 up. So there is an official timeout. We'll give you, if there's any information that we need to tell you about it, we will. But they're discussing things.
Thank you from the WFTDA for acknowledging our reference. We
Yes.
just became famous. 5-on-5. Well, 4-on-5.
How can
now
you have
on
any
the track
pudding if you don't eat all your meat? Way to go, Little John.
Australia losing their pivot to a direction to gameplay, a stop block or a clockwise blocking penalty there. Number 60 for Australia, Ya Na, is taking the jammer star. 31, Monowich for Europe. Lead jammer position still open. We have 2 clockwise blocking penalties.
In the penalty box, two Australian skaters in the penalty box. 1 Team Europe. Yena on the inside. Australia with lead jam. Europe wanting the lead jam. Come on, y'all. It is a junior event. I appreciate you guys watching out there on Twitch, but please, come on. These are athletic young adults.
Oh, boy. So we do like to thank the WFTDA for sitting in on our chat right now. It is moderated. Penalty box is clear right now. 100% strength on both of our teams right now, and our pack is pretty stagnant there, right up between turns 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, I should say. Let's see, 27.08. The Naki boy putting a hit on Australia's jammer. Lead is given to number 60 from Australia.
He had lead.
Comes out with 5 points.
Star pass by Mona, which that's called off. Number 11 took the star. That's Nutter. No limit on the jammer line for Europe. Ada Robertson for Team Australia.
Australia losing 1 blocker on a clockwise blocking penalty. Pack advantage now going to, Europe losing that blocker. Australia having pack advantage. Lead is still open. It looks like Australia's blocker, number 17, Ada Robertson, just a few blockers shy of completing this initial pass. Number 26, Crazy Daisy, sent up front from Australia, trying to break up that wall a little bit. Australia's pivot, number 106, with a knock out of bounds on number 888, No Limit, jamming for Europe. Number 106, that's Mad Catter. So Mad Catter, not only a good jammer, but also a good blocker. Okay, a multiplayer blocking penalty is assessed to an Australian blocker. Number 1407, misconduct. Oops.
Oi, 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 roadie ho. Oi, 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 roadie ho.
Ada Robertson coming out with lead jammer.
Robertson trying to get around, coming back for a point pass. No Limit still trying to get through that green wall. Communication in through the pack on both teams, making sure everybody's in the right spot, trying to keep the other jammer at bay. Very unique side of roller derby is, again, I mentioned it earlier, is for those of you new out there, the pack plays offense and defense at the same time. You have to be offensively trying to help your jammer get by the other players, but you also have to score points and keep them from going to score. So you do offense, defense, both. That's going to bring us to the end of this. It's the unofficial final. They'll make sure that the scores at the end of 250-201.
Not a big. That's not.
Hey, that's
not
a lot
much.
of points in
Yeah.
this, and then both teams crossed the by century mark. So, man, what about that was to start the second day of World Cup. Don't forget coming up. Go ahead, talk. Give me your recap of this one.
That both teams definitely cleaned up in the second half. We didn't see as many penalties, especially dimmer penalties. They really took it easy in the second half because those dimmer penalties can always cost you what you think is a victory in a game. Other than that,
yeah, penalties were a lot cleaner, and like you said, and they tried to open up. Europe changed the star around and had a bigger, deeper jammer rotation,
Yes.
and now the track they're fixing to take the victory laps, and you know what, a great game. It's great to be a part of. To come start the early morning of day 2, the final day of of the World Cup. And then coming up next here on twitch.tv/WFTDA is your Team Canada facing Team Great Britain. I'm Al B.
I'm George Carnage.
See you in a few.